Good evening, class. This is Julia Johnson, a sophomore social work major, and I will be presenting to you my survey research poster. My research was on drug use during pregnancy. This is for Social Work 300 Computer Applications class, fall 2018. My class time is on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9:30. So, for my introduction, the description of the problem is drug use slash abuse consists of the habitual taking of addictive or illegal drugs, such as marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, etc. The problem that will be investigated is the opinions that Tuskegee University students have on drug use during pregnancy. And so the way that this was distributed was 50 hard copies surveys were distributed at Tuskegee University, and the online link to the survey was distributed via GroupMe, text message, and Facebook. And so the variables that were taken from this data include gender, classification, region of country, whether or not the use of drugs is harmful on a fetus, exposure to drugs, lack of education, and whether or not a woman should be prosecuted for drug use during pregnancy, history, etc. So I'm going to go into my figures. So for figure 1, it is a pie chart on whether or not a woman should be prosecuted for using drugs while pregnant. And so as you can see, only 14.1% of respondents strongly agree, and that the most respondents selected neutral, being 40.5% of respondents selected neutral. And I believe that this is because some people believe that they have to know the backstory or the circumstances in order to prosecute a woman for using drugs while pregnant. So for my figure 2, it is on exposure to drugs. And this is going over whether or not a woman, whether or not exposure to different drugs will influence or cause behavioral problems in early childhood. And so as you can see, 56.2% of respondents strongly agree that this will indeed cause behavioral problems or challenges. Okay, and so figure 3 is one of my bivariate tables on the lack of education by gender. And so the question was asking, do you believe that the lack of education influences the use of drugs during pregnancy? And this goes along with my multivariate hypothesis. So as you can see, many females have ranked substantially higher than males on all aspects. Okay, and so my figure 4 is one of my tables. This is my respondents classification, and you can see there are 6 different classifications that the respondents were able to choose from, and that the highest amount was actually not a Tuskegee student at 51.4%. And my figure 5 is also another table, and it is on the region of the respondents. And as shown, region 3 has the highest amount by 70.3%. And I believe this is simply because the location in which Tuskegee University is at, it is located in the South, and region 3 is the region of the South. And so, yes, that's why I believe that it has so many respondents. And for my methods, it was just, on the survey, there were 4 demographic questions and 7 questions that I made up. And 7 of them were Likert questions. And Likert questions is basically questions that are strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, agree, those type of questions. And so that's just explaining that. And so in conclusion, This survey proves that many people are neutral when it comes to prosecution. And it is clear that the region does indeed have an effect on how people will feel about the topic of drug use during pregnancy. I believe that many of these students who took this survey um, take drug use during pregnancy seriously because they understand and believe that more than one person is being affected by the actions of the abuser. Again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy and understand a little bit more. Bye.